Hello indie game fans! When talking about the big picture, June traditionally is one which is a little quieter due to E3 happening, and despite it not happening this year, we have the not E3 digital presentations to make up for it, which should be a good time. I'm sure that there will be some surprise releases to come, but based on the calendar so far, the top 10 games that I'm most looking forward to begins with Evans Remains. I've previously covered this beautiful pixel art puzzle platformer due to the visuals alone, where I really like the depiction of the sand and water. The boy genius Evan has gone missing, and years after the fact, a mysterious letter shows up at our protagonist's door, asking her to search for him. This is a puzzle platformer in the purest of sense, where you jump on and trigger platforms and blocks, with new mechanics being introduced as you progress. The central mystery seems to be pretty intriguing, where hopefully we will find answers such as why did Evan choose our protagonist, why did he disappear, and how we will get him home. Along the way are very pleasant visuals, though as with something like A Ground, not such a big fan of the portraits.
Where go you?
Some of you may recognize this title since Project Starship X did sponsor a video on the channel, but I'm giving it a shout out not just because of that, but because this pixel art vertical shoot 'em up does look pretty darn awesome. I love the use of colours, the music and the vibe, and contrary to what I thought, this is a roguelite as well. Procedural generation, absurd power-ups, and it even allows you to crash into enemies without taking any damage. This sure seems fun and is a treat for the eyes. The Lovecraftian parody theme extends all the way from playable characters to boss designs, so it's a cheeky take on the theme and just looks fantastic. From the tentacled monster to the author that spawned him, Tesla Force United Scientist Army is an action roguelite shooter where you choose between Nikola Tesla, H.P. Lovecraft, Marie Curie or Mary Shelley, and fight off cosmic horror monsters. Strangely, despite the 4 characters featured on the promotional art, this is strictly single player, as is very typical of a roguelite. It is perhaps the natural evolution for developer 10 Tons Limited, since they also made games like Tesla vs Lovecraft, Crimson Land and Undead Horde, and given that I enjoyed those, this one is a no-brainer. Prodding at things in order to progress to the next showpiece. Absolutely love the visuals, with perhaps a darker story to tell since it explores death, loss and mental health. A cyberpunk-themed action roguelite shooter, Danger Scavenger hooked me in with the Borderlands-style visuals and reeled me in with the action and setup. Playing as scavengers, your group was among the first to notice that the city-wide AI has attained sentience and is causing robots to revolt. so take up arms and face the danger. There are 5 greedy corporations in the mix as well, which serves as enemy factions, but I do like the style and even the UI for this. The number of upgrades and enhancements possible shown off in the bottom right also look pretty fun, so let's see how overpowered these combinations can get. Just a quick note, if you are new here and enjoyed the video so far, be sure to subscribe and check out the Discord channel while you are at it. Here's to more indie gaming coverage, so back to the video.
Who are you? Where are you from? Who loves you? And whom do you love?
I'll admit that I did confuse Waking with Dreamskeeper for a little bit, but this is nonetheless a beautifully done third-person action-adventure title. But what intrigues me the most more than the visuals is that it is combined with guided real-world meditation of all things.
Barely holding on to life. Which of your most treasured memories would you forge into weapons to cut through the forces of death? Which people from your past and present would you summon to guide you through the night? Which dark souls would haunt you on your journey back to the life you know?
It is supposed to be a uniquely personal journey, asking you to draw upon your own experiences, fears and desires to bring them along on your journey as you traverse the mindscape and fight treacherous bosses.
Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And let's go back into your memories. Do you remember that house where you grew up? Can you picture it from the outside as it was? Do you remember your childhood best friend? Can you see yourself laughing? Do you remember that old pet you had? Can you picture it running through the grass on a summer day? In these memories is the strength you need to wake.
The character in-game is locked in a coma, but it is not time yet, so fight in order to awaken. Pretty weird, but one which seems interesting, so I hope that the execution will be good. I'm always down to check out some interesting strategy and tactics title, and one which looks pretty cool is 1971 Project Helios. Obviously, I'm assuming that this takes place in 1971, so kinda low-tech modern military setup, which does look pretty neat. However, ammunitions are scarce, so tactics and close-quarter combat will be necessary. Play as a ragtag group of 8 people, each with their own problems, who somehow have united under the same banner of finding a mysterious scientist. There is freeform movement and exploration, which snaps to the familiar XCOM-style square grid in combat, with RPG mechanics and multiple skill unlocks as well. I don't normally cover games that get pushed, since it is a little bit repetitive, but Hexity looks pretty awesome, so I'll make an exception. Originally planned for me, the developers needed more time to finish up the story campaign, so here we are. A roguelite deck builder which is not a Slay the Spire clone, the main mechanic or gimmick here is that there is slotting and modification mechanics for your cards in combat, which does look pretty cerebral. Another cyberpunk title that is riding the wave this year. This releases in early access, so more content to come, but some pretty positive feedback based on the beta. anime mecha turn-based tactics describes Warborn pretty nicely, where you lead a squadron of mechs to destroy your enemies. One part Super Robot Wars, one part Advanced Wars. This has both fodder troops that you can mass produce, as well as named hero units with special abilities. The aesthetics is very 90s anime, but I do wish that they leaned even more in that direction, since admittedly, some visuals don't really pop. Regardless, space war and political uncertainty like the Gundam plot should keep things interesting. This one's a little strange structurally, but do hear me out. When I last covered Tainted Grail, I was absolutely wowed by the visuals, and it promised to be an open world RPG. So I thought, yep, I'm down for that. Strangely enough, there's a board game version of this as well, which is a co-op survival game, so already different from the digital version, and then the developers hit us with this.
The age of Red Death is over. The age of Conquest has begun.
Apparently, Tainted Grail Conquest is a roguelike RPG version of this game, which will be their main focus while in early access, since they do not want to make and release the main RPG campaign chapter by chapter.
Through blood and pain, you will rise.
As such, the replayable roguelike model allows them to better balance abilities while they simultaneously work on the story campaign, so essentially 2-in-1 on the video game portion, but I'm a sucker for these deck builders, plus it looks so good, taking the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos and I will see you after the jump.